Welcome once again, everybody. It is the Porsche Master Series Round 4 Championship Lap Guides. First guide here is Watkins Glen on the short course. We're in the Cayman as ever. So what we'll do is we'll get straight to our lap. Always like to mention, sponsored by DMJ Vroom Vroom Gaming, LWR Design, D.90 in the DDR family, and myself, WPR Hotlap, who's doing all the guides for this series. Let's get straight into the lap. Here we go. Get up close to the wall if you're doing a quali lap for this one. And for turn 1, we're looking at the 200 board in the Cayman. Just here, as you can see, I'm coming off the throttle, just getting on the brake now. What you want to do is cut right in on the inside of the curb on this one, but it's a late turn in. And you want to get on the power as soon as possible to go on the curb on the outside of this corner. Here we go. Down to third, cut onto the curb and get on the power straight away. Stay on the curb here, don't go off the curb at all, you'll get a penalty. Up to fifth, now. And just let the car roll through these corners. And you don't want to rev out fifth gear too much. So up to sixth, after about 145. There you go. And then for this one, very tricky bus stop, we are braking at the 300 point. As you can see, just coming off the throttle now, I'm going to try to brake in a straight line to where the curb gets, the painted line, gets a little bit wider. And that's my turn in point. So turn in there and try to use as much as the curbing as you can. Especially here, it was a little bit wide here, but it proved to be my fastest lap. That's okay on the way out. Now just feather the throttle around the long right hander here. When you get to the marshal box here on the right hand side, that's roughly where you want to start accelerating, and the car will hold its line, especially if you're on a tight line here. And you can use all the curb on the exit, but just don't go again off the curb or you'll get a penalty. Just use this curb, don't go too far across. Now you've got a long run up to the penultimate corner here, so what you're going to do is you're going to brake at around about 200, as you can see, and just go down to fourth gear and just kind of coast through the apex of this left-hander and get on the power as soon as you can for the final corner. Get back on the power. For this one, I'm not using the ball board, I've come back a little bit and I'm using where the two barriers on the left-hand side meet. That's my brake point for this one. As you can see, I'm just coming off the throttle now. And you want to cut onto the corner. Don't worry about the pit line. You want to cut right onto the corner in fourth gear. And then power out. But don't go too close to the wall on exit. Because if you go off track fully onto that curb on the exit, then you'll get a penalty again. Here we go. So if you go onto this, you will get a penalty if you go right up against the wall. But that's a very handy 1:12.998 for part 1. We'll go out of car now and do it again for you. Oh, let's go back a lap even. Right. Here we go. So always stay within the white line on the left hand side. All the way around the track. There's the 200, braking down to third, cut right onto this curb, then get on the power. Could go a little bit further to the left if I needed, but that's fine. Up to fifth, can ride onto this curb a little bit, and the one on the right hand side here. Up to sixth at 144, 145. Looking for the 300 board, there it is, braking, then turn in on that bit of painted line. Could have done that a little bit better, feather the throttle through here. Wait till you get to the marshal box, there you go, get on the power. Keep it nice and tight, up onto the curb, that's fine there. Once again, looking for the 200. There's the 200, cut down, could have gone the power a little bit earlier there and could have used more of this curb on the right hand side. There's the barriers, get onto this curb, run out, don't run onto that curb, and you're fine. And that is race 1 of our 2 race night, so we will be back in a moment with race number 2. Okay, we've now loaded up race 2, ready to go. And for this race, it is the GT3 RS, the 911. Remember, we have DRS on this one. And the handling for this car is a little bit different than the Cayman. It's more powerful, but with the DRS, it really changes your braking zones. So let's get into my view and let's get straight onto the lap. Using the DRS, crossing the line. Now for this one, I found lifting off the DRS before we get to the braking point helps the car, keeps it stable. Here I am just between the two, about 250 out, and I've started braking for the first corner. And once again, we're going to go down to third and try to run out on the curb as much as we can. Here we go. Up onto the curb. Keep 2 lines on the curb. Straight on the DRS again. Up to 5th. Again, a little count of this one. Now you don't want to rev out 5th gear in this one or you'll lag out. So just as you get into the top of 5th, you want to change to 6th gear. And we are looking this time for the 400 board. I've stopped it a little bit early because I think I'm coming off the DRS now. I've come off the DRS early, 100 meters before the 400. You're braking for the 400 here, down to 4th gear. And same as the Cayman, you want to try and really cut into the curbs here. Let's go. There's the 400. A little bit wiggly on the way in, but I controlled it. Up on the curbs on the way out. Now a little bit later on the throttle here. There's the Marshall box, get on the power, and you can use all this curb on the exit. For this one, just before the 200, I've started to brake. Try to brake in a straight line, a wide entry to this one, down to 3rd and then up to 4th on the apex and power out in 4th, and the car stays really stable here. Down to 3rd, up to 4th, late apex there, and then just power all the way out. Coming up to a very tricky right-hander, I am braking just as we get to this point, the second last sign on the left-hand side. And we're going to go down to 3rd, and again it's a very late apex for this one, so stay in 3rd, and then as you can see the sun's going to drift across the screen. When the sun gets to basically the middle of the screen, that's when I get on the power. Down to 3rd, there's the sun right there, middle of the screen on the power, and you can run out. Up to 4th on the DRS once again. Up to 5th. And this one we are braking just at the 200. And again, try to brake in a straight line. Down to 3rd for this one. And cut into the curb, but try not to get anything on the grass or it will unsettle the car a little bit. Especially on exit. So here we go. Down to 3rd. Onto the curb. Nicely off the curb, get on the power, use all this curb and get ready for this one. Now for here I'm braking just before the 100 and I'm going to go down to 3rd and just stay in 3rd and coast wide. I think I go this time. I could have gone a bit closer on the left hand side for the apex, but I think I'm a little bit wide here. Down to 3rd, yeah, a little bit wide, get on the power best you can. Don't use too much of that curb and get ready for the penultimate corner once again. This one we are braking at 200, I think we're just lifting mostly. Let's go back 10 seconds so we can see it all properly. So I think I was too close to that one when I paused it, so let's go and have a look at it again. Up to 3rd, onto the power, use some of the curb, not all of it for here, you'll hit the grass. And I think I just coast through this one in 4th. Tiny bit of brake there then, in 4th. Once again we're looking for this barrier, brake a little bit down to about 100, then cut onto the curb. I turned in a little too early as you've seen there. Well, good exit on the DRS again for the flying lap. And a 1:47.6 isn't too bad here, so once again we'll go out of car view for you and just run through the lap in real time. Looking for the 300, there's a 300 board down to 3rd, cut in nicely, carry plenty speeds onto here. That's about as much as the curb as you want to use there, else you'll get a penalty. up to 5th. Remember, don't rev it all the way to the top of 5th or the car lags out a little bit. As you can hear there, just a half second. 400, cut in, turned a little bit too early, but I rode that okay. Basically, that nice tight line through here. There's the marshal box, get on the power, let the car drift out onto this curb, that's fine. 200 again, down to 3rd, up to 4th. Cut in on the late apex, that's nice. And just let the car run right out. There's the second sign, down to 3rd. Now after that box on the left and the sun's in the middle of your screen, then you power up. Again, using all the DRS best you can. Here's the 200, down to 3rd. Late turning, just use the curb. Then get on the power and use all of this one, that's okay. Just before the 100, down to 3rd. A little bit late on turning there, that's why I stayed wide. I could have gone on the power a little bit earlier, but that's as much of the curb you want to use there. There's the 200, tiny brake input, and then get on this one. Again, where the two barriers meet, turned in a little too early there, a little too eager. So there's probably 2/3/10 off that lap I could take. But that is your lap for this week. I hope you enjoyed them, and we'll see you very soon in the next ones. Cheers all.